This is Dr. Michael Kay from the Center for Functional Health, and today we're going to discuss a thyroid condition known as hypothyroidism. This thyroid disorder changes your thyroid hormone levels and can affect every organ system in your body. One of the most common thyroid disorders is hypothyroidism, and it's known as an underactive thyroid. The pituitary gland in your brain sends a signal to your thyroid when it needs to increase the production of thyroid hormones. This signal is called a thyroid stimulating hormone, or TSH. A well-functioning thyroid responds to TSH by creating more thyroid hormones. Once more thyroid hormones are actually produced, a feedback loop is created and the TSH signal then lessens. In hypothyroidism, however, the TSH doesn't spark the thyroid to create more hormones. So the body then sends a stronger signal and it produces more TSH to send to the thyroid, but that signal still isn't enough to trigger the production of more thyroid hormones. The thyroid simply isn't responding well enough to that signal. The cycle then continues until the TSH levels are elevated above normal limits and the thyroid hormones T3 and T4 are decreased below normal limits, hence clinical hypothyroidism. Now, hypothyroidism is a serious condition, but is also a very common one. Luckily, there's a lot you can do when you first show signs of hypothyroid issues before the problem reaches clinical levels. Now, testing is important, and testing your thyroid function and addressing any underlying issues and symptoms is a natural and effective way to manage a thyroid condition. So let's talk about gluten intolerance and how it may be at the root of an underactive thyroid. See, there's a link between gluten intolerance and hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, as we said, is a common condition, especially though among women, and for many, food sensitivities can actually play a role. Autoimmunity, or the body attacking its own cells, is one of the many possible root causes of thyroid issues. And research has linked gluten intolerance to autoimmune issues. This means that if an autoimmune condition is the underlying cause of your thyroid disorder, or an intolerance or sensitivity to gluten could be the underlying reason. Now, this connection happens so often that some studies actually suggest that gluten intolerance screening should be for anyone with an autoimmune thyroid issue. So now, how does gluten lead to autoimmunity? When you're unaware of a food sensitivity or food sensitivities, your gut often pays the price in the form of inflammation. Over time, this can lead to what we call a leaky gut, where food particles are able to slip through the intestinal wall tract and reach your bloodstream. Now, the protein portion of gluten is called gliadin, G-L-I-A-D-I-N, and it's a common culprit. The immune system then targets these proteins as foreign particles and begins to attack them. Unfortunately, the gliadin protein and the molecule is similar in structure to these molecules that make up the thyroid gland. So antibodies meant to attack gliadin can actually mistakenly attack your own thyroid tissue. Now, this can lead to a hypothyroid, an underactive thyroid gland. The good news is that there are ways to actually check for gluten sensitivity and address your autoimmunity. Now, if you think certain foods make your symptoms worse, let's get together and we can uncover exactly what's going on to identify the trigger and get you on a path to feeling like yourself again. So let's talk about an inexpensive yet very effective way to uncover any nutritional reasons for your symptoms, and that's the elimination diet. Very inexpensive, one of my favorite diets is Hypoallergenic Diet, a single most powerful tool available for uncovering food sensitivities. Not to mention, as we said before, the least expensive. Now, I won't sugarcoat it. This is not an easy diet. It's not an easy protocol, and it may take some time. But it's important to remember that the diet should be eliminating your possible triggers, so you should start to feel better right away, even before you have uncovered the details of your sensitivity. So first comes the elimination phase. In this phase, you will remove possible triggers such as dairy and gluten from your diet completely for 2 to 3 weeks. At the same time, I want you to keep note of any uncomfortable symptoms, including how often and how severely you experience them. Next comes the challenge phase. Once your symptoms have gone away, we'll know that maybe one or maybe more possible food triggers were the culprit. Then becomes the reintroduction phase. Each food you will reintroduce one at a time, carefully checking if there's a return of your symptoms. Food sensitivities can be miserable and may even be a major player in your autoimmune issue, including thyroid disorders. The right protocol under the right guidance, can help you determine if a food intolerance is at the root cause of your symptoms. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to working with you soon. Once again, this is Dr. Michael K. from the Center for Functional Health.